All right, welcome to Cabin Fever on 956 Preps, and I had the honor of having two coaches that have been to the Sweet 16. Marco Hinojosa, who was there this season with the Los Frenos Falcons, and Coach Brian Molina of the Harlingen South Hawks, who has really cemented himself at Harlingen South as a playoff contender every year, if not in the playoffs. Gentlemen, welcome to the show, and thanks for being here.
Oh, thank you for having us, Jake.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
All right, so the offseason, I've had three basketball coaches on now, and it's got to be difficult right now because you guys don't have an athletic period to work out your younger classmen that were going to come up. What do you guys do right now? Because a lot of coaches are doing video and watching their players doing it that way. What are you guys doing over there in your respective programs?
Go ahead, Brian.
With us, Jake, we're obviously doing what we're doing right now. A lot of Zoom meetings. We're trying to do that about twice a week. I send them workouts. We use that Sports U app that's been going around. It's up and coming. So we've been using that. And, it's just a lot of basically we use that big word trust. I'm having to trust them to work out on their own. I know I've seen Marco post it already. We've been using a run app as well with my boys. I have to trust my leadership. I have a couple of really good captains that have been captains for the past 2 years. So I'm kind of putting the team, under them and they're kind of reporting back to me. And so far, my players have been sending me logs and I've been really pleased so far with what they've been sending me and the videos that they've been sending me. And I know that they're itching to get back on the floor just like we are, but we understand that we're in unfamiliar territories, but so is everybody else. And so right now it's like I try to use the term we're the Harlingen South Hawk boys basketball team's like one big puzzle. And right now we're working on each individual piece right now. Usually when we're in athletics, we get to work on the entire puzzle. Right now it's all about getting the best piece from each individual to make a better puzzle once we do come back.
Yeah, I mean, we're in the same boat, Jake. Like Coach Molina said, and everybody in the Valley is doing it across the Valley again. We send them a workout every week on every Monday. They're supposed to do it. I don't Zoom them to see if they're doing the workout. Like Coach Molina said, it's a trust thing. I do follow their running, though. We do have an app that we downloaded. It's the Adidas running app, and I'm doing it along with them. And we can track what they do on a daily basis. So you can even see them live as they're going out. So that's one thing we can track. But I got a good group of kids that know what it takes and they know what they got to do. And they do send me pictures and whatnot of what they're doing. And again, it's easy to say, oh, here's a picture and didn't do anything. But I got good kids, and I've been blessed throughout the years to have kids that are classy guys that don't lie and do things right. And that's all we can do. We're just put in the situation. It is what it is, and we got to do the best of it. But every district in the state is in the same boat. So we're just going to do the best that we can, and hopefully we can come back at least in some sort of shape where we can come and do a basketball drill and not have to be stumbling ourselves while dribbling the basketball. So if we can come back in shape, we're winning.
You two are both active on social media during the year. I do have to ask this, Brian, since you follow Coach Hinojosa and Marco, you follow him, who else do you guys follow, and how often do you guys look at those Twitters, like during the year, especially during the season? What do you guys look at it, or you guys try to stay in your bubble?
I mean, I scroll through it. Do I follow somebody in particular? Oh, let me see what they're doing and let me outdo them? No. We try and take care of ourselves, and it's all about us and what we do. I can't worry about what Brian is doing, what Wesley, who's coming into our district next year, is doing. We got to do what we do. Because I know Brian's going to have their kids ready and he's going to be prepared, but we just worry about what we do and handle our own business.
Yeah, I'm pretty much the same way. I just kind of scroll. All my Twitter, the only people I follow are have to do with sports or, like the teams in our district. A lot of coaches from around the state that I stay in communication with. But it's basically just an information type deal. But I don't try to compare myself. Like Coach Hinojosa said, I have bigger problems just trying to worry about what we're going to do and trying to stay focused on that. And I think, if we give our best effort, I tell my kids, you got to win the day every single day. And that's what we try to stay focused on and just stay, within our realm, control the control the controllables, which is stuff that we can control only. And then we just kind of go from there.
You know, speaking of what you can control, next year you're going to have Weslaco in your district. So you guys get a considerably tougher district because Weslaco, you know, leaving 31-6A to come over to you guys, it's going to be a monster district. I mean, especially with the amount of talent you guys have had. What do you guys have returning, and how do you guys contend with like what Weslaco brings into the district?
I mean, we lost a senior ball club this year. We're going to be very young next year. We do bring one of the better players in the Valley, I like to say, selfishly, in Jerry Martinez, and he's a good piece to work around with. And we are behind the 8 ball right now. Weslaco is going to have a returning ball club. So let's just say we don't get to work and we just come back in let's say October, worst case scenario. Weslaco at the end of the day is a returning ball club. They're going to be some sort of in sync, and we're not. We got to put pieces together. We know what we need to do, but it's just so frustrating that we can't go in and do what we need to do. It is going to be difficult. Brian also returns to returning ball club. I think he graduated. Brady Bennett finally, thank God. Big monster inside, but he returns, I think, 7 or 8 guys, and he's going to be in a nice position next year. But again, everybody's in the same boat. We're going to do the best we can to close the gap as soon as we come back, and just pray that we stay healthy during this time and safe.
Yeah, you know, we got to experience Weslaco firsthand. Obviously, we lost to them in the playoffs this past year, and you know, looking at that lineup that they have, I mean, they're returning pretty much everybody from that team, which is a scary team. And of course, Coach Valdez does a great job. Has a great program over there. You know, I'm pleased with the team that I have coming back. I returned 8 guys, like Coach Hinojosa said. All 8 of them have seen the starting lineup at one particular time. So one thing that I can say is, you know, I want our kids to keep working on a day-to-day basis, but right now it's about adding maybe a couple of pieces to our puzzle. But our core is back. But once again, you know, in Los Fresnos, you can't graduate tradition. I mean, they've won 6 in a row. They just got back from the regional tournament. They won district titles and at every level, JV all the way down to freshman. So, you know, they're just going to reload. And I know Coach Hinojosa does a great job there. And then if you look down the line, I mean, Harlingen High is always tough. Rivetta returns everybody. Anna was a young team this past year, so they're going to return everybody. You know, the Coach Bly at San Benito just took them to the playoffs for the first time. So obviously all these teams are coming in, and I'm looking forward to the challenge. It's going to be a really competitive district. And if you can make the playoffs in this district coming up next season, I mean, it's saying something.
You know, I just thought of this right now. You two took over. These were your first coaching gigs. Am I correct for head coaching?
Yes, sir.
What was that like? Because a lot of times, you know, a lot of coaches would take that first job, the first head coaching job that's available, be it, you know, a smaller school. How important is it to, especially for coaches that are coming up, to take that right job, not the first job, but the right job? How hard is it to kind of hold back from taking those jobs, but also, you know, how important it is to get the right job?
Go ahead, Brian.
Yeah. You know, with me, I'm blessed. I mean, I fell into my dream job right off the bat. Yeah, as being under Coach Roy Swift, after about 4 or 5 years, I have had several opportunities to jump ship and move. But like you touched a little bit on it, Jake. I mean, it's not always about just jumping into being a head coach. It's about going to the right place. And you know, I was just blessed to step into, at that time, a 5A job, now a 6A job, which is a dream job. And it's a place that I could see myself staying. I'm very happy here. Harlingen South, the community, the family has treated me really, really well. God willing, I'll end up retiring here. And you know, I was just fortunate to be able to start my dream job right away. I mean, I think I waited my time. I was an assistant for about 7 or 8 years. And then the cards and the chips just kind of fell into place. You know, when Coach Swift left Weslaco to go to McAllen, I had every intentions of going with him. And then all of a sudden, you know, the Harlingen South, I was blessed. Coach Helms gave me a call from Harlingen South, talked to me a little bit, and everything just fell into place from there.
I mean, I've been blessed myself. I had the luxury of being at Los Fresnos already. This is my 15th year. I started as a JV coach for 5 years, and I was under Coach Sean Jones, who did an excellent job and started turning the program around. And then I became a assistant coach for 3 years, and then I've been a head coach for 7. It's a total of 15. But I knew the kids, I knew the system. We really didn't change much. It just continued on what Coach Jones had there in place. Great school, great kids, one school town. I know a lot of people always say Los Frenos is a one school town. They're lucky, and yeah, we are lucky and we're blessed. And I'm going to take advantage of it. Did I wait for the right job? Absolutely. Was there other jobs I could have taken? Yes. Did I want to take them? No. At the end of the day, you need to go to a good school, that's good kids, and good administration. And I mean, that list just goes on and on and on. And I was just lucky and blessed to be at the right place at the right time. And I did counsel a lot of people. I do talk to Brian and Molina a lot on different things. You know, when I went into the interview, he helped me out and, hey, this is what you got to be ready for, so on and so forth. Coach Yevda, same thing, guy that coached me back in high school, and I still see as a father figure. And I talk to him 3-4 times a week and bug him, and I still pick his brain. I still to this day pick Brian Molina's brain even when it comes to just playing the team. But I picked his brain back then to get a job. I remember going to his house and sitting down and think that we needed to take care of. And again, I've just been very blessed here at Los Frenos. Good community, good school, good administration, good kids, and just blessed.
Now, I asked Eric Montalvo, the head coach at La Jolla, the other day. I was asking him if he could name his top 5 players that he's seen here in the Valley. You know, of course, you know, Brian, you were actually on that list, but Eric put himself number 1. You guys have your own. Realistically, do you guys have your own list?
Number 1.
He did. Right away, he's like, "Well, I'm number 1." And then he mentioned Lalo. He mentioned you. But you guys have like your top 5 list. It can be from any gen, but like that you've seen play or coached against. You have your own top 5?
I go no particular order though. Can it be past coaches also?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna go with Gonzalo Garza, Coach G. I'm gonna go with Brian Molina, Lalo Rios, Eric Montalvo, and I'm gonna put Jose Luis Yebra, Coach Yebra for row.
No, we're talking about players.
No, it can be players. Coach, you can go with coaches too, but like player-wise.
Oh, I thought you wanted coaches because I know I saw that podcast.
Well, you know what? I like this route. Let's go both on this.
Yeah, we can do coaches. Let's do coaches first, and we can go into players. Let's see, coaches. Man, there's been a lot of good ones. Of course, number 1 by far, easily. I may be a little biased, but you know, Coach Mo Molina, obviously, my dad. I learned tons from him. And like I said, I tell everybody the same thing. To me, I have an unfair advantage because I got a Hall of Fame coach that I get to talk to day in and day out. And so obviously, you know, I put him up there, and like Coach said, no particular order, but he's definitely up there. You know, Coach Roy Garcia as well, who mentored my dad and was around there. Jaime Gongora, obviously he's a winner, proven winner. And I've known Jaime. He used to babysit me when I was a little kid. So back when he played for my dad, you know, he's obviously one of the legendary coaches. Coach Robert Capello, you know, you want to talk about teams that can put up points and winning and stuff like that. Of course, you have to understand, I grew up as a coach's son, so I got to see all these coaches while I was growing up. So they do have a particular impact on me. Coach Sean Jones, I used to pick his brain all the time when he was here. And, you know, somebody I think who I've gotten to sit down and talk to a lot also as a basketball coach that I really enjoyed talking to is Romeo De La Garza. And, I mean, I know he's an assistant coach, but, I mean, he used to be the head coach at Mission Vets, and we used to talk defense all the time. I mean, he does a great job with his teams. And of course, I talked to Gabe a lot too, Gabe Valdez over at Weslaco. I think those are some great coaches right there.
Okay, let me rephrase this first part then. And Marco, you can jump in. Brian, you can jump in on this. All right, if you had to pick your all-star team of coaches to play hoops, like, you know, they can be in their heyday, who were those top 5? Like, you know, Brian, I can remember the first time I played basketball in the Edinburgh Men's League, and you were on the court. You didn't miss a single 3. Like, you would just hit 3s. But who are those guys that you would play? Because, you know, if you had to pick your top 5 coaches to play like on a team.
Yeah.
Well, you got my 5.
Okay, I got your 5. Okay.
Yeah, okay. My five's simple. I mean, basically it's the guys that you played against. I mean, Lalo, obviously, Eric Montalvo, Coach Yebra, back in his heyday. I mean, those 3 right there are pretty good players. I mean, pretty good player coaches. Jaime Gongora, when he played, he was a heck of a basketball player. Robert Silva, who's an assistant coach over at McAllen Memorial, I would take him as well.
Just 5, Brian. Just 5.
Where's Gabe Valdez in this?
Oh man, Gabe Valdez. I was gonna say. I was about to say Gabe and Art, both of them. I mean, Gabe Valdez and Art Castillo. I mean, those go without saying. I mean, Gabe is who I looked up to when I was coming up. He was at Browns. He was at back then it was Pan American, and of course he was one of my heroes. I mean, I'm sure Lalo Rios will say the same thing. I mean, those guys, him, Art Castillo. I mean, were 2 guys that we definitely looked up to and wanted to be like when we were younger.
All right, and then okay, for how about your top 5 and players that I'll make it easy. Players that you've coached against. So you can't take your own right now. 5 that you've played against.
5 that I played against as a coach, or 5 that
Oh no, sorry, that you coached against. Excuse me, that you coached against.
Oh my gosh, man, there's tons of good ones out there. Jeez, man,
I know because you're gonna miss somebody.
We can go one at a time.
There we go.
I'll drop a name.
Okay.
Nick Garcia.
From Edinburgh?
From Harlingen South. Tough kid. Another kid that was a competitor, wouldn't miss a 3, and just had that will to win.
And he was on your Sweet 16 run, right?
He was on my Sweet 16 team. I mean, he was on that team. I had 5 guys that had that it factor, but he definitely had the it factor. I mean, just something you can't coach. Just put the ball in his hand and let him go. Let's see. I guess my first one would be JJ Avila. I mean, when I was a head coach over at South, I had to go up against Coach Swift's team, and I mean, good luck on stopping JJ. We couldn't stop him. I mean, for obvious reasons. You got one, Marco?
Yes, sir. Aaron Olvera from Edinburgh Bobcats. Ayo, tough kid, just a scorer, could stop him. Relentless on both sides of the ball. I mean, I got to go with him. He put it to us, when I was an assistant with Coach Jones in a playoff game, and I think they ended up putting a 90+ in that game. Just kids wouldn't miss.
Oh yeah, man. I would definitely have to put AO up there. I mean, those my first couple of years was I had starting out at Harlingen South, was going up against him and Steven Guerrero and obviously the brothers that were over there at the time, and I mean that was just a heck of a team that Coach Filo had and then Coach Cuellar had back when I started out. Gosh, there's been so many players that we've gone up against. Probably one of the toughest kids that we had to prepare against was one that Marco coached in Ugo back when we played him. I mean, that guy was. I mean, you want to talk about a kid that could get his own shot whenever he wanted to, could create for everybody else. And, I mean, we game planned over and over to try to stop him, and it was tough doing so.
Here's another one, local right now, current player. I know we've been throwing out some former players. Currently right now, that's Louis Yebra, Coach Yebra's son. 6'4", tough, can run, can defend, can shoot the 3, attack the basket. You can't go by. He's just so lengthy. And he's just so savvy of a basketball player that just knows the game. But then Coach Yetta's been doing a great job of putting him in the right spots and putting him, since he was a little kid, putting the ball in his hand. So current player right now, Louis Yebra at Nicky Rowe.
Yeah, one that we had trouble. Thank God I didn't have to play him this past year, but I played against him his sophomore year, was Derek Luna. Derek Luna stops Derek Luna. I mean, you just can't stop him. You can only hope to contain him and just kind of, do your best to slow him down. Back then as a sophomore, I think he still put up like a double-double or triple-double against us. And then watching him play this year and watching him play in that regional tournament game, it was just unreal when he went off for about 40. I saw him play several times this year. I'm glad that we didn't have to play him this past year, but I think he's one of the best players that I've seen come out of here in a long time.
Need another name?
Yeah. One. What we got? 2 more.
Papito, I think his last name was Gonzalez at McAllen
From
Memorial. Guard, little short dude, but you can't judge a book by its cover and by its size. The dude had a heart of a champion. Remember playing him at Memorial. A kid probably went up for 35 and hit like 8 or 9 threes on us. Tough kid, competitor, and I believe he was also a great golfer. And I think he did college golf. So
he's playing pro now.
He's playing pro right now.
Oh, now, wow, okay,
yeah, in Asia.
Wow, good kid, competitor, and look at him now. He's at the pro level just because he has the will. He has what it takes to compete.
Going back, like when I first started, I mean, Nail. We had to guard Nail over at PSJ North. I mean, that kid was a heck of a player. My assistant coach played against him, you know, when I was coaching Coach Garcia at the beginning. Those two guys used to go at each other. I mean, Jaime had him and I believe it was JC Edebia or whatever, or Edebia on that same team, and they were a nightmare. They pressed us the whole game, and of course, Nail scored about 30-something on us every single time. He was just tough to guard.
That's a good one. I forgot about Nail.
And I got a story on Nail. Playoff game when I was in JV coach, but I was with Coach Sean Jones. Kid had just torn his ACL. He was on a brace. By district game, he comes out there and puts up 30 on one knee. So that tells you about Nail.
Yeah, and Nail, you know, I know Nail really well. He probably is one of the best basketball players with the worst hair. So, but okay, last players. Oh, sorry, Marco, you got yours. Yeah.
Another one. Okay. I mean, Brian just picked. I mean, you know what? I'm going to throw this one out there. He's just a monster. He played with Gabe Valdez last year. Coach Frenos' son. God, what's his name?
Safi.
Yeah.
Fino. A lot of people didn't give him much credit, but that kid could score the ball at will. There's no way you're going to stop that kid one-on-one. You send 2 kids, and he's just going to go by you. Kid that played downhill. Great competitor, and I'm going to have to give it to Safi.
You know, with me, staying on the Westico page, Braxton Bloomquist, I mean, we couldn't stop him. I mean, that guy we did our best to try to slow him down, but he always had big games against us. And so, I mean, that's one player that could shoot the ball and then unselfishly became a point guard and distributed it. And so we tried to game plan to stop him as much as we could, and we never really could slow him down.
But no disrespect. Let me just throw this out there, Jake. No disrespect to the players we didn't name, because, I mean, this can go on and on. Brian had a stacked team with Grant Preciado. I mean, you can throw Leo Lara into that mix. Harlingen High has had a lot of shooters and a lot of competitors. Juan Cerillo, and I mean, again, the list goes on and on. No disrespect to any of those kids. Great kids that I take on my team any day. So it's just so hard to name.
There's several honorable mentions. I mean, Gabe Martinez put up career numbers against us when he was at Los Fresnos and at Hanna. Obviously, his brother's already continuing his footsteps, and Jerry's only a freshman and already lighting us up. I mean, Gilbert Ressa, it seemed like made a highlight reel every time he played Harlingen South. So, I mean, that guy, I think he averaged probably close to 40 against us every time he played us. And, I mean, the list goes on and on. I mean, there's been some great kids come down. Even back when I played, I mean, you go down to Adam Lowry, and, you know, those guys, and then the kids from Egg Couch, Elsa, Adrian Levis, and those guys who were pretty good in their day.
I mean, you can go on the kids that Porter had back when they went to the Sweet 16. And
they had a team, yeah.
Yep.
Yes. I mean, that's what I'm saying. No disrespect to any of those kids.
Yeah, and then there's this. For anybody watching this, I didn't give you guys any questions ahead of time, so I'm springing this all on you just for the impromptu-ness of this. But
yeah, I've already gotten like 10 texts, like, "What the heck, man?" No, just play.
Now, you know, looking at your guys' teams, you know, if there was one thing that would kind of be synonymous with your programs, what would it be? You know, like forever it was the running Bobcats. If you guys were talking about your team, what do you guys kind of encompass with your programs? What's your mantra?
Go ahead, Brian.
I think with us, it's simple. It's defense. I mean, every year we hang our hat on holding teams to 40 points or less. It's always going to put us in ball games. I think the reputation when you're playing Harlingen South is buckets aren't going to come easy. I mean, they're going to be tough buckets, and I think our kids have bought into that. from the get-go, and it's become just a tradition. It's so much, Jake, that it's just my best coaches are the kids, and I don't have to talk to them about it. I mean, it's players in the past that have set that precedence. I mean, every time we call timeout, every time we go into a locker room, they know that the same goals have not changed from year to year, and they're the ones that are holding each other accountable. We talked about the regional tournament team that we had. I mean, yeah, we were putting up almost 80 points a game, but what people fail to realize is we were also only giving up 41 points a game. I mean, those kids, and they were not talking about, oh man, I need to get my points, I need to get this. They were talking about, hey bro, you need to lock this guy up. As a matter of fact, I had two kids. One of them, his junior year, led the state of Texas in steals, and then Nick, his senior, Angel led his junior year, and then Nick turned around and led his senior. And I mean, it was almost, I mean, they were almost fighting me because they wanted to guard the best player on the floor. And I think it's just something that's carried over year after year. Even now, the kids, that's all they talk about is, you know, coach, we got to hold them to 40 points or less. And I told them, I said, even on a bad shooting night, we should be in ball games. I mean, there's been plenty of years where we had good playoff teams where we were only averaging about 45 points a game, but our opponents were averaging 39 points a game. So, I mean, you know, we were winning close ball games, but I think the big thing with us is they just buy into that defensive system, and you know, a good defense is going to lead to easy offense.
I mean, I'd hate to repeat what Brian said, but again, when I started coaching, I did pick Brian's brain a lot, and he says 40 points, and we came up with a number, and ours is 44 points per game. And every year, for the most part, we come pretty close. And we also preach defense over here at Los Fresnos. We always tell them, if you can't defend, you can't play for us. That's great that you can hit 4 threes, but then you go and give up 21 points. So we do preach defense, and the kids are all about defense. We start usually practice with a defensive drill just to get them going and hype up the practice. And we always say offense will take care of itself. Every game, somebody else leads us in scoring, so we really don't care who scores the basketball. We're a very unselfish team. So we do preach defense, and that's key. And like Coach Molina said, if you hold teams to a low score, and you can have a bad shooting night because that's something you can't control. You can control your defensive effort, but sometimes shots go in and out. But if you hold teams to 40 or less, you're always going to be in a ball game. You're always going to have a chance to win, and that's all we ask for, is just to be in a ball game at the end with a chance to win that basketball game.
All right, last question. And you know, I know you guys have other things that you have to do. Last question. This is a tricky one. You got to name the best basketball movie for you. What's the best basketball movie in your mind?
I'm a Coach Carter fan.
Yeah, and with me, it's easy as Hoosiers.
Oh, okay. So there's a generation gap there. I grew up on Hoosiers.
Yeah,
but you know,
here's my thing, you know, and I've talked to people, a lot of people, especially like I've been in the situation, Harlingen South, where I've had principals that have gone on and moved up north, and I've gotten phone calls from them like, hey, why don't you come up here? You know, we have athletes, we have this, we have that. You play for a state title. I think just like Hoosiers. I'm a Valley boy. I went and played junior college in Kansas for 2 years, and I knew after those 2 years, I turned down every school that recruited me outside of Texas. I wanted to come back home. I didn't care no matter what. I either wanted to come to Kingsville, or thank God I ended up playing at UTPA at the time. And so my thing is, Hoosiers is a small town, small. You know, they weren't supposed to win. Kind of like what the perception of our Valley kids. So my thing is, my dream is, you know, of course, Coach Rios has already lived it a little bit. You know, same thing with Coach Cipriano over at Santa Rosa. I want to take a Valley team to the state tournament. Not only the state tournament, I want to compete and win over there. And I mean, I have big dreams. I have big goals. My thing is, you know, why not? Why can't we do it? And so a movie like Hoosiers only motivates me because of the fact that, you know, that team wasn't supposed to do anything, but I guess, you know, you put your mind to it, right coaching, the right pieces in place. And, you know, you don't, it's like I tell my boys all the time, and I heard Marco even say, you don't have to be better than the team you're playing. You just have to be better than for 32 minutes. And, you know, that's what we preach there at Harlingen South. And that's easy. That's why that movie is one of my favorites of all times.
You see, and I just like Coach Carter. It's got a good story, but at the end of the day, we always talk about doing the little things correct. And Coach Carter, there's a lot of discipline in that movie. And you got to show up on time. If you're late, I mean, it's not good. You got things that you got to do. And we always try to do things right here at Los Fresnos. And that's what that movie, that's what it does. And it shows that you got to do things right. You got to be disciplined. And those are the things that we talk about here at Los Fresnos. That's why I like it.
Well, that's great because I like both movies. I just grew up on Hoosiers because I lived in the Midwest. But I appreciate you guys both answering that question. I appreciate you guys taking the time to answer some questions here with me, however stupid I may sound. But I appreciate it, and I hope that you guys get back to coaching quickly because I know it's not fun to be at home.
Hey, let me just throw this out there real quick, Jay, because I saw your interview with Eric. I'm gonna say Adan was better than Eric. I'm just gonna throw it in there just to stick it for a little bit. I'm more sure I might get a call here in the next 30 minutes or so, but
Oh yeah.
I'm just gonna throw that out there just to start something with him.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
awesome.
no, he doesn't like to hear that.
No.
The best thing is, we play on men's league. Well, I'm on the team, but I don't play. But when Adan and Eric match up, it's the funniest thing in the world watching those two go at it.
I bet.
So, but yeah,
See, that's why Jake, Brian, and I, when we play on the same team, so there's
Yeah.
no confusion on that. So it's easy for us.
When was the last time you two? I got about 7 minutes before this thing makes me upgrade. When's the last time you guys played basketball competitively, like be it men's league or pickup?
So it's just about maybe 6 months ago. We were in that 35 and over league here in Brownsville.
Yeah, we won that league. Yeah, I mean, we won that league. I don't know how many times in a row.
6 times in a row.
Yeah, 5, 6, 7 times in a row. Basically, what we used to do with Players Inc. over on that side of the valley is what we do over here with our Alpha team that we have over here.
Oh, so no defense, just 3-point shooting.
No, I will tell you, we'll sit in the zone and all right, they'll hit it. We'll give up a layup because we'll go down and knock down a 3.
I can actually say this. I remember being the inbounder for players at one point, and all I did was inbound the ball, and I never touched it again. So it was worst experience ever. But
hey, don't worry about it. That's my role here with 35 and I can't run anymore. So I just dribble and kick to Brian at the corner. For some reason, they seem to lose the best shooter on the court, and then he just keeps on knocking them down. So
yeah, I still can't play a lick of defense. So never have been able to.
Well, that's good though. You don't have to when you play like that. So,
no.
But I appreciate you guys taking the time to check in with us, and I hope we can do more of these.
Definitely. Anything you need from us, let us know, Jake. I mean, we're always here. Appreciate you.
All right.
thank you for having us, Jake. Appreciate it, brother.
Thanks. Good night.
All right. Good night.